All right. All right. Hey guys, this is Dirk with BergFlow. I'm coming to you guys live with Pivot Ready Live today. So, first off, welcome. It is Thanksgiving week, and we're heading into the end of 2022. This has been quite the year. I think this has actually been more of a significant shift this year in 2022 than what we saw in 2020. And I know that that's a big statement because COVID and everything, really transformed in a big way. But what we're seeing right now unfolding live in front of us is the results of a lot of what's happened in the United States and really worldwide for the last 15 years, and really culminating with COVID, with 2020, with the massive injection of cash into um, the system printing money, everything booming because of stimulus, and now we're on the tail end of that. So today, I'm really talking about uh, pivot ready teams and what is a pivot ready team. And as a small business owner, what are you doing right now to prepare for 2023 and making sure that you are going to be relevant and successful in a downshifting economy? And in most markets of businesses that we're working with, we're seeing pretty significant shifts. Businesses are starting to close their doors. We're seeing a big pullback in the amount of business that service businesses are doing. So the question becomes, what's the game plan going into 2023 for you and your team, and what does that look like? So first off, if you guys are watching this and you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please feel free to jump in. I'm kind of between places right now. So we just moved into a new house here in Fort Worth, Texas. And I've been going back and forth between here and a ranch in Paladora Canyon where we're running Maris Adventure Park. Right. So one thing with Workflow, besides the work that we do with other company owners, we're obviously also building our own company, but we have multiple companies that we are busy building. So when it comes to, guys, please excuse the dogs in the back house. We got some service guys that just showed up to our house. Um, the work that we do with companies is the same work that we do internally with our teams and with our companies as well. And we've seen that this pivot ready approach, this team first approach to business works. For a lot of years, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So for a lot of years, I was the one that was just gung ho to build something, and I wanted to be successful in business, and I wanted to build a brand and get something going. But for quite a few years, throughout my 20s, early 30s, um, there were a lot of different things that I attempted. There were a lot of failures. There were some successes, but I mean, it was just all over the place. And it wasn't really until um, really about when I was about 34 years old that I really started understanding that the only way that I was going to be successful going into the future was 100% related to the people that I had around me in business. And that was my mentors, my coaches, the people that I looked up to, my partners, the people that I hired in our business, our teams. And when my focus started shifting to looking at people first in business in every aspect of it, then my level of success started changing as well. And I'm just turned 41 years old this summer. Between about 35 and 41 over the last 6 years, I've seen a really big upward trajectory in my level of success, my net worth, what we've been able to do. I was fortunate to have an exit this summer out of a company that was a multi-million dollar exit for myself. And that was really fun to see that, you can go out and build a company using this pivot ready teams system and build something very successful that can run without you, that can be very profitable, that can be fast growing and operate without you being at the center of it. And that's what we are doing in Bergflow. We've developed a system over the last 6 years, and we've worked with literally hundreds of companies building this system. But the number one thought here is that it's a people first, team first approach to business. And what that does is the owner or leader, right? If you're watching this and you're the owner or the leader, your role significantly changes in the overall mindset and strategy of how you show up in the company and what you take on ownership wise and what you give to other people ownership wise. And the big change here is that from the start, and it doesn't matter if you have a company that's just getting going or you've got a 2 or 3 or 4 or $5 million company. um, what matters is, do you have the right kind of mindset and structure around what you're building? And one, do you have a clear vision around what you're building is always first and foremost most important. Today for Bergflow, most of the companies that we work with, most of the people that we take on as clients, starting off are already over $1 million a year in revenue. I'd say the average kind of number is around maybe 2.5 to $3 million where people are in annual revenue when they start working with us. So it's not just little startup companies. I mean, we started working with a company last year that they were at $14 million in annual revenue. We started working with them just a little over a year ago. They went from 14 million. They'll end up this year at 50 million in revenue. And so it works whether you're kind of on that smaller scale, or even if you're starting to go to that next level of going to a medium-sized business. Like the same thing works perfectly, because it's a different kind of mindset. It's a different kind of methodology about how to do business. And the first thing that you got to do is you got to structurally be able to make sense of the business. You have to be able to show somebody else on a piece of paper, this is how it's structured, and this is how the structure is going to grow and scale and evolve. Because once you have that done, and we developed something called the SOG model, services, operations, and growth, where the key thing is to focus on 3 different divisions within your company, hire the right 3 people, and then as a CEO or owner, you're working with those people and they are running their divisions or departments or whatever you want to call it, your teams. And you're teaching those people how to work with each other, how to communicate, but also how to lead their teams, right? So um, once you get the right structure down, then it's all going to be about finding the right people. And this is more important today than ever before. We've got a saying in our world that the companies with the best teams will win, period. And we absolutely believe that, because most people are using the same kind of technology today. Most people have access to the same kind of tools or product or services or all the kind of things. There's not a lot of companies that have just an absolute proprietary hold on something that gives them a competitive advantage. Um, what we see is the companies that have the ability to attract the best people and give those people the ability to bring their expertise and their ideas and their creativity and their drive and their enthusiasm into the company in a way where those people have ownership. Like, those are the companies that are winning. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen company owners that are really good technicians, right? And again, most of the companies we work with, at some level, the owner was the first technician, right? They were the one that started the company and they were doing the thing and providing the service. And then they got more busy and they hired somebody, and then they hired somebody, and then now they're over $1 million company. But a lot of times the company owners still have the technician mindset. And you have to break that mindset if you are truly going to act as a CEO. Right? As a CEO, you look at things differently, you make decisions differently, you take actions differently than a technician does. And it's the same challenge we have. Like, a lot of times somebody has a really good technician on in their business, and they promote them to become a leader, and then the technician starts being very stressed out. They start dropping in performance. Their attitude gets soured, because again, they're approaching a leadership position from a technician mindset. It's a very different mindset, right? But the thing about it is that if you can adopt the mindset that it's people first, right? Whatever the service is, whatever the product is, if I can say, look, I got to find the best person that's going to be the best long-term fit to grow and scale this. That's not who can I hire today that's going to be the best technician. It's not who am I going to be hired today to be the best person that can work on my sprinkler system, right? It's not that I'm looking for. It's who's the best person I can hire today that can help hire 100 other technicians and train them on how to go fix sprinkler systems and then how to lead them through the challenges they're having. That's the person that I want to look for. I want to look for that person that really is learning based, that's coachable, that's a team player, and that understands that it's not about their ego around them being the best at doing something. It's about them serving their teammates and working with other people to help them become better in the things they do. And it takes a different approach. It takes a different level of learning. You do have to drop your ego. You got to say, look, it's not about me and like me looking good and me doing all the right things. It's about how am I going to support other people? How am I going to help that person overcome the challenges they have? And what we're seeing right now is that business is shifting very, very quickly. Okay, there's a couple of things that are happening here. Number one is that bigger companies are going into more blue collar type businesses. Uh, because of COVID and seeing that how resilient home-based businesses were, how resilient most service-based companies were to something like COVID, there's private equity companies today that are going in, venture capital, private equity. They're going in and buying companies on like smaller companies than they ever have before. Typically, private equity, venture capital is like, I mean, they wanted to buy the companies that were 25 million plus, 15 million plus, 10 million plus. Those people are coming in and buying companies that are $1.5 and $2 million companies today, and they're buying them left and right. Because the other thing is that the level of competition in most kind of service companies out there has never kind of matched the level of competition that are in a lot of other industries. So when it comes to technology, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to resources, when it comes to the level of people that are coming in. So the whole game is changing for people out there that are in service-based companies. Right now, you're competing with more and more people that are backed by venture capital, backed by private equity, backed by successful entrepreneurs that have done multiple other ventures, and they're coming in and owning a plumbing company or a roofing company or a septic pumping company, like whatever it is. They're coming into these kind of businesses that were traditionally very mom and pop type businesses, and they're now bringing higher levels of technology, more expertise with marketing, more financial backing, like all of these things in, and they're viewing it very differently. So that's one of the big things that's happening in the service space. The other thing that's happening is we're fully blowing, like going into a recession. We've actually been in a recession now for over 2 consecutive quarters, right? This is the third quarter that we're actually going into a recession, but I believe things are going to get tougher going into 2023 if you are a service-based company. Number one is over the last 2 years, there's been so much money. So many people have spent money to upgrade their houses, upgrade their yards, upgrade all the equipment, upgrade everything, that there's been like this mass injection. And now with the economy going down, with the stock markets and the markets starting to go down, everybody's hearing the same message, like stop buying, don't make any big decisions, don't make anything big purchasing decisions. And people are starting to halt that, and you're starting to see that demand is starting to come down. um, I talk to a lot of different company owners on a weekly basis, and I'm hearing like all across the board that inventory levels are going back up, whether it's tires, something as simple as that, whether it's lumber, whether it's different components, parts, specialty parts, whatever it is. Inventory is starting to go back up because demand is coming down. Now, more than likely, I think we're not going to just it's not going to be a V recovery, meaning that we're not going down and then just bouncing right back up. I think we're going to bottom out a little bit, and we're going to sit at the bottom before we start going out again. What does that mean for your company? We've had clients that this year they anticipated they were going to have really, really big growth years. And it's been, a tough year for them, because all of a sudden they started realizing that, hey, we were planning to hire 30, 40 technicians this year. Maybe they hired 20 technicians, and now they're having to lay 10 of them off, right? Because the market is what the market is. They're still going out and they're aggressively doing things. But the question is, do you have a game plan for what you're going to do in your business? Should we go into a longer term recession? Should the market, whatever market you're in, should that market compress by 10, 15, 20%, what's that going to do to your company next year? Are you still going to be profitable? Do you need to start making hard decisions and look at laying people off? So there's a lot of these kind of stresses that are building right now, and there's a lot of business owners that are very isolated in these kind of decisions, meaning that you're kind of maybe talking to some people, but you don't really know what to do. You're not linked into other people that are really having those kind of conversations that are authentically sharing, like, man, like I'm struggling right now, like I'm laying awake worrying about, are we going to be relevant next year, are we going to be able to make payroll next year? And I've talked to multiple business owners over the last 60 days that they are actually having to do owner cash injections into their businesses right now to sustain payroll and all their operating expenses. So the level of stress in most cases around owning a business right now are definitely climbing. Again, the question for you is, are you connected to the right people to understand what to do? Do you know how to work with your team and explain to them and have them be part of the solution of how are you going to pull out of a situation like this within the company going into a down market? All of this to say, we still believe it's always people first. If you have the right people, you're going to win at the highest level. Right now is actually a really good time to look at your people and say, do we have the right people? Are they in the right positions with the right motivation? And 100%, like we 100% believe, like the magical equation is the right person doing the right things with the right motivation. If those three things aren't matching up, you're already losing. You're not as efficient, you're not as effective, you're not going to be as successful if you don't have the right people doing the right things with the right motivation. So right now is a good time to look at your team and say, okay, let's evaluate our team. Let's look at our everybody's strengths. Let's look at what they do well. What could they do better? Maybe could they serve at a higher capacity in a different role? What does that look like? So what that does is it reorients what you can do. And we've helped companies restructure $2-3 million companies where they went from a team of 60 people down to a team of 40 people, and they were growing faster and they were way more profitable at 40 people and growing faster than they were at 60 people. It's not always about having the most bodies. It's about having the right people doing the right things with the right motivation. Because once that happens, team morale, the level of energy, level of innovation, everything really starts to go up. So I think this is a really, really good point for you to look at your business and really decide, how can I be certain that I got the right people? How can I be certain that they're doing the right things? And thirdly, how can I be certain that they have the right motivation? Because if they don't have the right motivation, um, they're just not going to bring their best, right? And that doesn't mean that um, people only certain people have motivation, right? Everybody has motivation. People are just motivated by different things, right? There's somebody that this morning they got up at 4:30 and they worked out and they did goal planning, and they went to work and they're working as hard as they can, even like in a boots to the ground type thing, because they want to change their level of financial future. They want to better their family's lives. And then there's somebody today that slept in until 9 o'clock and got up and ate a bowl of cereal and they smoked some pot and they're sitting on the couch watching Netflix right now, right? But that's what their motivation is. It's not that one has motivation, the other one doesn't. They just have very different motivations. So your key is to find out what is the true motivation of every single person that works for you and align that motivation with the overall mission and vision of the company. All right. Um, Question from John. He says, so many services offer this hiring process that works. What makes your hiring process more beneficial over other processes that we are seeing? Hiring is extremely difficult right now, especially with retention. So, great question, John. I think one of the key things that sets our process apart is that you're actually starting from a higher level of internal clarity about what's important to the company. What is the mission, the vision, the values of the company? Um, and then we really go into building what's called a SMART profile, so that we absolutely know in the specific profile that we're hiring for, like, who is the exact person that we're looking for? Like, who is the person that's going to give us the greatest opportunity to be successful with this position that we need to fill? There's so many people that they start with hiring processes and they say, oh, like, we're going to give you great interview questions, and we're going to give you some assessments, and we're going to do all these things, and you go through all of those things, but you still don't have a clear indication whether this person is going to be successful in that role. So one thing that we do is we really look at the position, we really look at the role, we really dive in and analyze, from a behavioral aspect, from a cognitive agility aspect, from an emotional intelligence aspect, from a motivation aspect, who is the right person? We look deeply at past track record. We look deeply at future pacing people and seeing What do they see as part of their alignment in the future? And then we got a really thorough interview process that you take somebody through. By the time that you spend all that time with that person, you take them through everything, and then you can really look at the level of congruency between the person, the role, and the company, and put those things together. You're going to have a much better chance at matching that. And we also use some really amazing software that's super easy to use. It's fast to use. That really helps us understand the level of match as well. And that can really help us understand that even though I really like this person, they seem like a go-getter and they're saying all the right things, they're just not a match when it comes to behavior, cognitive agility, and emotional intelligence. And those are the big three things that, from a scientific point, that we really look at. Right. That's part one. The second part is, can you extract the right data out of this person to truly understand if they're on a journey that matches the journey of the company and who we are cultural wise as a company? And I think like that's the thing that our process does extremely well, especially with service-based companies. I mean, we've really dialed this in to understand, who are the right people that need to be in top level leadership, who are the right people that need to run the services division, the operational division, and the growth division, because those are very different profiles. And we want to make sure that we get the right people, again, doing the right things with the right motivation. And one thing that we do also believe in is completely decentralizing hiring. We don't believe that one person HR division should be doing all your hiring. We actually think that that's a very dangerous thing to do, because that person's going to form a very one-sided view of the kind of people that they need to hire. So we typically say, look, HR is good for all the legals things and all the tax docs and all the benefits and all the dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making sure that everything's done, making sure that all the human resource things are done. But really, hiring needs to be done from the people who are going to be doing the leading as well. So we use a decentralized method of hiring, and we teach multiple people in the company, how to go look for the right people, how to have conversations, how to broaden their base of finding the right people. It's not just about going to Indeed and putting ads. It's about talking to your neighbor, talking to other people. So that's kind of how our approach is very different as well. So all that to say is that, look, guys, going into 2023, I think one of the big things that's really important is really looking at, do I have the right structure in my company? Do I have the right people doing the right things with the right motivation? And then the third thing that I think that's really important to look at right now is your economic model. Does it work if the market is actually contracting, right? Because a lot of companies, they're happy with like 10 or 15% growth year over year. But when you look at their markets, the market may have been growing at 20 to 30% a year over year for the last few years. So if your company is growing at 20%, but your marketplace is growing at 30%, then you are actually lagging the market at 10%, right? Your company is growing 10% slower than the market. So if the market now slows down 30% or 20%, your company may slow down 40%. And this is where you can get yourself into a lot of trouble when you don't understand these things and look at them. And look, the hard thing is when things get busy, you got a lot going on. What happens is your head's down, you're in the weeds. You're not looking at business from a higher level. You're not having the conversations, and you're not putting the time and effort and energy in to do the right level of planning, to talk to other people, to get coaching and mentoring and training around what do I need to do in this situation. Because even though kind of what been talking a little bit is like gloom and doom, kind of things going down next year, we believe that that's actually an incredible opportunity. Wealth is transferred during down markets, and a lot of wealthy people have just been sitting on piles of cash. They're ready to go buy stuff. Asset prices have just been extremely high, and I think that some assets will remain stable. Other ones are definitely going to be coming down. But I think that there's a lot of service-based companies that are going to go on sale, over the next 24 months. October, November, December, all the EIDL loans, right, have started. You started to pay those back, right? So there's a lot of companies now that they may have gotten 150, 300, 500, $1 million from the government over the last couple of years. Now their payments are starting back, right? So they may have gone and spent that money on new equipment, a yacht, a new house, like who knows? But now they're going to start having to pay that back. And if the market's shrinking and they're starting to have these bigger payments on debt that they maybe didn't have before, it's all kind of like the perfect storm that's coming together, and it's going to be tough over the next 18 months. So I think that if you play your cards well and you're smart right now and you get around the right people that have the right type of mentality and the right type of attitude and the right kind of strategy towards how you play in a downshifting market like this when you're in small and medium-sized businesses, you're going to have exponential opportunities to, one, grow your company, acquire other companies, merge other companies in. And as the market starts turning around, you're going to have a really big opportunity to really, I mean, skyward, uh, go up in growth and profitability and market share and all these kind of things. So I think it's really a powerful time to invest into your company, to take a deeper lens, look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, who's doing what, do you have the right people on your team, and use this time to heavily, revamp anything that needs to be revamped in your business. Warren Buffett has this saying that when the tide goes out, you're going to find out who's swimming naked, right? And that means that over the last really 10 years plus, you've been able to kind of really screw around in business and make a lot of money. Now you're going to have to be more strategic. You're going to have to be more on point. You're going to have to be more disciplined. And the companies with a better talent is absolutely going to win in the next 24 months. So right now is a time that you can really look at your company to position yourself to move forward. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to do a shameless plug for our Pivot Ready Teams program. We're kicking our next launch off in January of this year. So one thing that we're starting off with, I'm going to just kind of run you guys through what we're doing here. The first thing we're starting off with is a business planning clinic to help you really plan out your 2023 year. How am I going to look at my business? What do I need to understand when it comes to my business, where I am right now, where I want to go, and what needs to happen in 2023? The next thing we're going to look at is also focusing on, do you have the right structure? And if you don't have the right structure, how do you start transitioning into that structure? The next thing we look at is, do you have the right economic model? Do you have the right performance? Like, does your model actually work with you growing the company and maintaining your profitability? The next thing we look at is, do you have the right team? Do you have the right people doing the right things with the right motivation? And what's your system around that? We got a system called Talent Acquisition Systems, which allows you to go out and build the very best team that you can in the next 18 months. Then all of that starts being pulled together, and it's really showing you how to work together with other people as a team, not just being a leader that's telling others what to do, but being a leader that gives others responsibility and they figure out what to do, and you're helping to coach and mentor them, and those people are supporting each other as well. So this is a 12-month program that we do in Workflow. We've always done kind of an ongoing program, and we've got people that have been in this program for years now that have literally taken their companies and 4, 5, 6, 7x their revenue, and really got some great profitability, grew their people, everything over the last several years. So what we've done is we've kind of condensed that into a 12-month program that we're launching in January, and it's for the CEO slash owner plus the executive leadership team, right? And a lot of companies don't have fully formed executive leadership teams yet. Maybe you're just starting to form that for the first time. Maybe you got somebody that's like a general manager, or maybe you got somebody that's a leader, but they're not really an executive leader yet. So this is teaching you and those people that you have, okay, how do you become a good executive leadership team? How do you start developing leaders underneath you if you're a leader? How do you bring those people in and find them and help them succeed? And the program includes weekly group coaching and training. We've got some standalone classes that we're going to be doing as well that you can go through. There's some incredible software that you get access to for evaluating your company, to understand, what are our team dynamics looking like right now? What are the right profiles for each position in the company? Do we have the right people in the right seats? So we love using the software, so you can get access to the software. We've got a financial specialist that can work with you as well, that can really go deep into your books, that can help you kind of look through everything, make sure that your models are correct. And what this does is it's a weekly injection of thinking at the right levels to grow businesses, thinking at the right levels to focus on finding and developing talent, thinking at the right levels to focus on leadership and how people can support each other, and also thinking and focusing on next level opportunities, right? What does it look like for you to go acquire another company? What are the steps to go merge another company in? And these are the exact same things that we're doing. We're actively looking right now at acquiring 2 additional companies. And that's something next year that we want to continue to acquire companies using this exact same method. So this is something that's not just something that was designed and we just teach it. We actively use it in our businesses. We've worked with hundreds of companies that we've taught, from a group level to companies that we work with one-on-one. As a matter of fact, in 15 minutes, I've got a weekly coaching call with the CEO that I coach, and I mean they're going to be finishing up at $50 million this year, and I mean their goal is to build a $500 million plus company. They're using this exact same system, and they're hiring technicians all over the United States right now in ramping up their company. So it's one of these things, whether you're kind of getting going, we really kind of recommend that you're going to be at least at about $800,000 a year in revenue for this program to really make sense for you. I think if you're starting out and you're 100,000 in revenue, like it's not going to make much sense for you, right? It's really about succeeding through a team, bringing people in, going after growth, structuring. I mean, there's a lot of components to it. So we typically say that it starts making sense for you around $800,000 a year in revenue. But if you really want to go from that 1 million to 10 million plus range, like this is an incredible program to take you and your leadership team through, so that you can learn how to do it together. It's not just one person trying to execute everything. It's people working together as a team, figuring out what does it mean to be pivot ready? What does it mean to be a pivot ready team? How can we look at the structure, the economics, the people of our company at a higher level? How do we make sure that we got a really solid game plan and that we got a really good cadence of execution, that we can actually execute the game plan and get the results that we're looking for? So I want to invite you guys, if you want to learn more, by the way, if you're kind of somebody that's serious about taking your business to the next level, we'll spend 45 minutes with you for free. We'll do what's called a strategy session with you. We'll ask you a lot of questions about your business. We'll ask you a lot of questions about what you want to achieve. And we can quickly tell you, like we've done this enough times, we can quickly tell you, is it something that we can help you with, or is it something that we are not best suited for? And one thing that we've learned is we don't take clients if we don't believe that we can help you win. If we don't have the track record and we don't have the belief within our team that you were right for us and we were right for you, we're not going to take people on. Like every time I've taken on a client where I knew in my heart that they were not the right person, it didn't turn out great. And when we work with a client and it doesn't turn out great, they don't tell anybody about us. It doesn't help our reputation. So we're really committed to working with the right kind of businesses that we can help grow. And a lot of that comes down to where are you on your growth journey? What do you want to accomplish, and what are you willing to do as a business owner and a leadership team to be able to get there? So either myself or Wesley would be glad to spend 45 minutes with you guys on a free strategy session, and we can quickly tell you guys, we're not going to try to hard sell you, we're not going to try to bullshit you into anything. We'll just quickly tell you, like, hey, we see some very quick opportunities to start making some changes in your company. And we've had some incredible stories of companies that we've saved over $90,000 for in literally 7 weeks, where we identified some really big gaps in their company. We helped them maybe exit somebody that should have been exited, or help them hire somebody new that immediately unlocks growth for their company. So there's some very quick things that we can do to look at your company and figure out, okay, what does this look like? But the Pivot Ready Teams program is designed to help you and your leadership team really get on the same page about how you're going to run your company differently. What's going to be the difference in mindset, the difference in culture, the difference in standards, the difference in how you support each other. And that in itself is a game changer. I mean, just think about this. If every single week, right, for the next year, starting in January, you had really good coaching, you had really good training, you had really good input, and you were in a community with other business owners that were on the same journey, where you can share resources, you can share connections. And guys, we do fun things, like we go on adventure trips together. We got a ski trip planned for next year. We've got outdoor adventure, off-roading trips planned together. I mean, we got some cool stuff planned for the Pivot Ready Team program for next year. So it's not just going to be like boring Zoom calls and stuff like that. It's going to be very interactive. It's going to be meeting on location, coming together with other entrepreneurs, and really learning how to take your business to the next level. So I want to invite you guys, check it out. The page, the sign up page isn't even done yet. I think we're going to have it done in another week or so. We're just launching a new website for BurgFlow, but we're really excited about the Pivot Ready Team program going into 2023. It's launching in January. It's a 12-month program. We've also got some phenomenal people, people that have been top level coaches to me, people that have been top level mentors to me, that we're bringing into the program, where you're not just going to hear from me and our team, but you're also going to hear from other people that have helped us be very successful over the last 4 or 5 years. So This is definitely the most comprehensive thing that we've put together this far. Really excited about it. But as you guys are looking at going into 2023, like one of the things here is that there's a tendency to want to just kind of pull back and not do anything. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And I promise you that is the wrong approach here. If you're sitting back and you're going to wait and see, what's going to happen is you're going to miss making all the right moves when you need to make the moves, and you're still going to be sitting back waiting when everything starts turning around and everything starts going, and you're going to miss some huge opportunities, right? So for our clients, we're working really hard to position them right now to get them ready for exponential growth as this thing starts turning around. And that's what we want to invite you guys to as well. So if you have any questions, you can reach me, Dirk at bergflow.com, or reach contact@bergflow.com. But thank you so much for those of you that have been on the video with me today. We're live every Tuesday. Not, I don't think the fifth Tuesday. So maybe next week we're not live, but the first 4 Tuesdays of the month we're live here with you guys, talking about different things. Wesley, Amy, myself, other people as well. We're talking business, we're talking growth, we're talking people. So I want to invite you guys to be back here for this. And other than that, if we can help you with anything for your business, we'd love to chat with you. Reach out to us, and we are pumped to help you guys build amazing businesses. And in Bergflow, our tagline is build something worthwhile. So that's what we love to do. We love to help entrepreneurs, business owners build something worthwhile, build something that's meaningful to them, to their team, and to help other people. So that's it for me. I'm going to get ready for my coaching call, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday.